Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. Welcome to Tpull's Corner. We are in the penultimate episode of our series, the 12 Days of Bloomburrow. So day 11. But wait, Travis you say, because that's my name. We already did 10 other days and we did an animal a day. We did all 10 of the primary animals that came out of the Bloomburrow expansion. What else is there to do? Well, I'll give you a hint. The name of this deck is Go Fish. I think I have the counterspell. I play the counterspell. I think we wait for that. I don't have a lot of removal, but it all seems to have been front-loaded here. Let's see if they have a counterspell. They do. Okay. Kind of glad to get that out of the way up front. And let's see, we made them tap out, so let's just get rid of that now. They need to control 3 or more artifacts. So right now they just have the 1. That's a sorcery. I think we're okay right now. Okay, they're not going to try and solve this. They need to dig for something more. They're not satisfied with what they've got. Let's try the Quicksilver Fisher. Now, I should note the Quicksilver Fisher just have fish in the name, but it's actually a drake in and of itself. It's also from another expansion. Aha! Nice. We will trump block the 10, yes. I'm still waiting for spells that allow me to get the fish. Big artifact focus on this. Okay, finally get to transform stuff. Yes, we will chump block the 5-2. How is it after all of this we still have more health than they do? We're tied for lands. And we have more creatures than they do. it's going to become a 4-4. That's okay. We can handle that. Four to the face. This is kind of what we wanted. Let's see. It's a creature now, so we can do that. We don't even need to give them a tapped fish, because this works on creatures. This is another good place. Okay, we got another counterspell off of them. Eight? It's terrible. Okay, I think we need to play this finally. We don't get the fish, but we get life. And we get to attack. And I don't think they're going to get 12 on their next hit. It's 5. They go digging. Extra land wasn't going to help them. What do you have left? You have the ability to concede. Alright. Well, we didn't demonstrate giving them too many fish just yet, but we don't have to do that every match. Alright. Day 11 of 12 Days of Bloomburrow. Go fish. Here's the overview. We've got 17 creatures, still the standard 24 lands. Smack in the middle, average 3.0 converted mana value. Okay, that's our cost. For removal, we don't have a lot. We got Elspeth's Smite for early. We've got 4 copies of Into the Floodmaw. This is getting into Bloomburrow now. We can return a creature to an opponent's hand if the opponent creature owns it. But if we give them a tapped fish, it doesn't have to be just a creature. It can be any non-land permanent. So pesky enchantments, other tokens, that kind of thing. All kind of good reasons that we might want to give them a fish. Cooped up to freeze somebody and exile it. Exercise, get rid of a target artifact, enchantment, or creature with power 4 or greater. Most of my removals here in this row, not on my watch, to exile attacking creature. And ossification, enchant basic land, exile target creature or planeswalker. This also counts as removal and also counts for the theme. Parting Gust, it's an instant exile target non-token creature. You'd want to usually use it on your own, because then you get to reuse it, or your creature re-enters, gets a +1/+1 counter, so if it has an enter into the battlefield effect, you get it again. However, if you need to get rid of your opponent's creature, remember it has to be a non-token creature, you can give them a tapped fish, and then it exiles their creature permanently. For Bubble Smugglers, these come in as 2/2 creatures face down with War 2 for 3 mana, and later when you have 6, you can turn them face up, add 4/+1 counters onto them till it's a 6/5. So either your opponent's going to be afraid to block it and you can do 6 points of damage, or it's going to decide it has to block it and usually dies. Usually loses the creature. For the Piranha Flies, for flyers, it enters tapped. I'm not sure why they did that where it enters tapped, but it's very strange. For 2 mana, getting a 2/1 flyer by itself shouldn't be a big deal, but they made it enter tapped. I would like to hear the designers discuss why they designed this card the way they did. Only 2 counterspells, 2 copies, and no more lies. They have to pay 3 mana to still get the spell through, otherwise it gets exiled. Beza the Bounding Spring, 3 copies of this legendary creature. When it enters, you get stuff if they have more than you. If they have more lands, you get a treasure token. If they have more life than you, you gain 4 life. If they have more creatures, you get 2 of the blue fish creatures, and that's how you get fish for yourself. And then if they have more cards in the hand than you do, then you get to draw a card. So if you are down on all 4 of those, you get all 4 of those bonuses. That's why I held it so long as I did in the first match. Still didn't get a lot of bonuses out of it, but it kept me alive. Eluge, the shoreless sea. This one is Bloomburrow, and it's a fish we get to keep on our side. Power and toughness are equal to the number of islands you control. Whenever it enters or attacks, you put a flood counter on the target land. You'll notice I only have 4 basic islands, so a lot of this stuff is not an island. But I can put a fish counter on it, or sorry, a flood counter, turn it into an island, and pop up this guy's power and toughness. Then the first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs 1 blue mana less to cast for each land you control with a flood counter on it. So the longer this stays in play, the more I get to attack with it, the bigger it gets, and the cheaper all of my other spells get. Starforged Sword, I can have it enter. I can pay 3 to equip it later, so that's 7 mana to get a +3/+3, but my creature loses their flying. So a bit of a drawback with this, but if I give them a tapped fish, I can attach it to a creature I control right away. They'd still lose the flying, but they get the +3/+3 in that same turn. 1 board light for Expel the Interlopers. 4 copies of Mind Spiral so I can draw 3 cards. If the gift is promised, I can tap a target creature an opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. 3 of the Quicksilver Fishers to guard against the all-flying decks, because I'm kind of up against, a bunch of angels and fairies and, what is it, the bats. There's a lot of flying around lately, so I figured I should count for that. So again, it has fish in the title. It's a Quicksilver Fisher, but it's actually a Phyrexian Drake. It's not actually a fish. But when energy, draw a card, then discard a card. And finally, we have Watchful Blister Zoa. This is from one of the Phyrexian expansions. 4/4 with flying, has an oil counter on it. When it dies, you draw cards equal to the number of oil counters on it. Also included 2 Monumental Facades, so I can keep putting oil counters on it. The problem with this is sometimes I get both of these at the very beginning of my opening draw, which I think is very unfair compared to everything else as a color. But 2 Fabled Passages to get those basics out. 1 Fountain Port that lets us create a fish for 1 life and 3 mana. And I do have 1 Restless Anchorage in there, so I can turn that into a white and blue bird creature with flying. That's basically it. I would not take this into ranked, I don't think. It's probably a little too inconsistent, but I do have some winning streaks with it. And it's just being a friend to the battlefield these days, right? That's what it's about. We've pummeled them for the last 10 days with all the different animal type decks. I think it's only fair we start to give them gifts. I should note, I'm using the colors white and blue. Black in the Bloomburrow expansion does not have a spell that gives anybody a tapped fish. They die. Yeah, Black cannot possibly conceive of a world where they should feel that they should give anything to anybody. That's how self-centered the color black is in the color pie philosophy of Magic the Gathering. So every other color has at least 1 spell where they will give you a tapped fish as a gift. Black does not. And this is a weenie deck, which means they're going to try and overwhelm me with a bunch of 1/1s. And this deck does not do the best against that necessarily. Let's just get rid of their token. And we'll get rid of Monumental Facade. I don't need 2 of those. considering I have all white spells, I guess I need another plains. We can use that as an instant, so... Hello? They're thinking about it. What do you want to do? We're not going to do it this time. We were bluffing. We're going to use this stuff. Let's see. Whenever an outlaw dies, this is an outlaw, this is an outlaw, this is an outlaw. We could save that. And if we do 3 here, that gets exiled without creating anything. And then we give them a tapped fish. No, actually, yes, because we want to permanently exile the Desecrator. This comes back in. We're going to lose whatever card we draw. Oh, that's okay. I guess we'll live with that. In the meantime, we turn this face up. 11 points. Oh, yeah. Kind of surprised they attacked rather than using them as chump blockers. I'm not sure how they get out of this one. Removal for the Flyers. Trick Shot only takes out one of them. They tapped out for it. It would be nice if I could get a useful spell rather than a land. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. We just hit them over the head for 2. We don't want them to gain a life by having this one die. We're going to make them get rid of the Flyer. If they can't get rid of the Flyer, game's over. Us flooding out with lands has not been the greatest. But they don't have enough to sacrifice anything. We will block the tapped fish. That's not an outlaw. The fish is not an outlaw. And just to show them what we had, never mind. They're not interested in what we had. But we gave them a fish. We did what we could. They didn't say anything. They didn't say thank you. That's 2 wins in a row. Don't let us fool you. There's all sorts of stuff that can destroy this deck. But we're just having fun. And we're about to have a lot more fun because in a couple of days the achievements are going to come out. I think Wizards announced there's 113 achievements and titles that you can earn now as well, which I'm kind of glad to see it. They didn't implement it exactly the way I've been suggesting, but on just about every survey they've done over the last few years, I have asked for them to give us something else to do on Arena. Some sort of quest or story saga. Just constantly, I'm always asking for that type of stuff. If you play games like almost any other game, think of stuff like StarCraft Online. They have all these things where you can do extra stuff. You can repeat the mission on harder levels to get badges, that type of thing. You can get bonus points sometimes depending on what you do. There's just all sorts of things that you can get awarded for playing games. And it's kind of taken Arena a long time to get there, but I think that they should add another achievement. They should add an assignment for gifting a number of tapped fish, and you should get an achievement award for, you know, however many that they decide is fair. This is a mirror match. I'm gonna counter that. They would have just gotten a 4/4, but I don't see any reason to give them that in the first place. Let's see. I've got blues. I've got whites. I guess we'll take an island. And here. It's going to come down tapped. They're going to get life out of this stuff. So I'm kind of surprised to see Beza in their coterie here, because this sort of guarantees they're going to have more life than us. And that is another mythic rare, and we're just going to exile that. And they are gone. That's 3 wins in a row. Aww. Aww, we didn't let them play their mythic rares on us. Aww. These are the only 2 copies of that counterspell I have in the entire deck, but they left because they think that I'm a counterspell deck, and they rage quit. and I'm out of counterspells. I always have to laugh when I make a deck and I have some things in the deck, but there's not a lot of them. And I go through my entire arsenal of whatever that is, and that in and of itself is enough to make the opponent quit in disgust, because they just don't want to play that type of deck, and they just don't know. You're done. The rest of it's a different kind of deck. If only they would display a little bit more patience, we could show them that. But so yeah, I don't know what the titles are going to be yet. I haven't looked that up. I'm not the craziest about titles. The titles to me are sort of like card styles. I don't put much value to them. But you know, we'll take them. They're thinking of things to do to improve Arena, and that's at least a little bit of momentum in the right direction. We understand the cardboard product has to come first. You can have a debate about that since we're in a digital age now, but I kind of like the fact that it started off as a physical card game. They've adapted to allow us this digital experience, and they've even created a mobile version, which I've used. I probably won't use it a lot, but you know, it's there. I've been places where I've been out of town and I wanted to get my wins in, and you have to sort of pull up a deck that you know inside and out because everything's so small, but I've been there, I've done it. I'm glad the product's there for me to use. But we don't want just everything to be only about the cardboard paper. So titles and achievements are coming our way. And for a long-time Magic player like me, I kind of gave up on caring about winning as much as I used to. I mean, it's always nice to win, right? So you still play to win. But I've created side quests over the years. So when we had Adventures in Forgotten Realms and they gave us dungeons, I'd create certain decks that said, okay, I'm going to get through all 3 dungeons, or I'm going to get through the biggest dungeon. When they came out with sieges, I said, okay, I'm not going to just cast these and forget about them. My goal is to go ahead and... Hang on, what do we want to do with this? I think we just throw it up into their hand. They're tapped out. Let's see if stalling them for 2 turns is enough. No way. Good game. I'm gonna pass because we do have a counterspell. Are they gonna try the same thing? Or is it time to try something different? They do have another land. They're not missing a land drop at all. Okay, here's where we see if they quit in disgust or not. They're still here. Yeah, let's try this. I don't have quite as much land as I wanted. They hit land drop again. Yep, they got it. Okay. So maybe I should have held on to that. Three, four, five. I think we don't need to tap that guy, do we? We'll just draw 3. I should have one untapped land in here. I'm hoping. No, I don't. Okay, so they may be feeling pretty good now. They may hang around. Let's engage them in conversation. I'm matching them for land with my extra card draw. That gives them an extra advantage. Oh. That evened off the playing field a little bit. And I still have enough for No More Lies. So if they have a big spell, we're in business. That's a big spell, but... no. Let's wait till my turn. We'll just... I think we do this one. Should we give them a fish? Let's give them a fish. We'll just exile it completely. They'll get a 1/1 out of it. And then... I need to draw 3. Wait. I'll say much obliged, but... why do you keep saying good game? Every time they say that, I think they're going to bail. They've still got more life than I do. And my No More Lies is probably going to be a little worthless from here on out. But we can make good use of this. We get life, we get cards. I think we want to create a treasure token too. Now they know we're tapped out. They have a free hand to do whatever they want. They just got to land. They're flooding out a little bit. Between what they're tossing away for land and mine, we've got about the same amount of land draw. So my card draw, it's helped me in terms of having a bunch of stuff up here. They did a much better job of emptying their hand. Mostly my opponents do. I tend to build up decks that... ouch! They had to tap out to do that. I think it's okay to trade the fish. Oh yeah. That's all I'm gonna do. No attacks. We'll end the turn. If they have another big X spell, the No More Lies may come in handy, actually. This whole deck is engineered around them casting second spells. Here they get to investigate even if they don't get the spell successfully cast. Oh yeah, we're gonna definitely block that. Cost 2, works out perfect. We counter it. They can still investigate, and they get a counter on the other creature just for casting it. Even though it fizzles, even though I counter it. They still get the benefit. But they're going to lose Malcolm, unless this is some other instant that does damage. They're digging. The digging is not enough. Okay, let's go ahead and play our next Beza. We'll get some life out of it. We'll play the land. We will attack. And we feel a little unstoppable at this point. Mostly because we already took care of Malek Reforged Researcher, and I think this might be the pre-configured deck. We've gotten rid of most of the stuff that would threaten us. Oh, this will be fun. They chose it just for the card draw. Okay. Do they think that they have to use this as a blocker, or are they going to try and attack? Ooh. We'll blink that. That fizzles. Yes, actually, that's perfect. You kill this, and I get 2 fish back. I wasn't getting much outside of that, so that works just fine. Let's create another treasure. Oh, we didn't have enough mana. I used my treasure to create a treasure. Okay. Let's get rid of that puppy. Let's exile this puppy. Attack with all of this stuff. Good game. And we don't care what we draw and lose. That worked out perfect. And Andre's a good sport, been hanging out with us the entire time. And they don't have a board wipe, so they do what they can. And that's 4 wins in a row for the Go Fish deck. Don't let Hasbro know that I named this deck Go Fish, or they will come up with another idea, sort of like Karlov Manor, and try and do an intercompany crossover. Does Hasbro own Go Fish? I'm assuming they do. I didn't look it up ahead of time. I don't want Wizards to run completely out of ideas and just go have IP crossovers with other board games and card games. Because you just know Mark Rosewater is waiting to do a sorry version of Magic the Gathering. Luckily, it's only you all that watch this channel. I don't have to worry about the others. I am not expecting these ideas to go far. But if you have an inside contact in Wizards, you can't use it, okay? I need to have y'all sign an NDA. You do not talk about the things that we discuss here on this channel. It's like Fight Club. Magic Fight Club. You do not talk about what Tpull says on Tpull's Corner. What was the one thing we were all joking about when they started Universes Beyond? We said we were going to have My Little Pony Magic cards, right? And that we were going to have to play with them. And we were joking about SpongeBob SquarePants. And look what's happened to us. Let's just do this. That seems fair. We don't get any benefit from putting Beza out right away. We expect them to have instant removal. Play your land. It's a Fountain Port. Is this a mirror match? What else you gonna do? Poison Dart Frog. Let's go ahead and throw you back up. They're not gonna like me. We did not hit our land drop though, so now we can get some benefit out of Beza because they're gonna hit us. We expect this. We expect them to hit their land drop because they've got a landfall deck. Yes. Let's do that. Let's just have fun. Let's see if they have protection. They'll get a 1/1 tapped fish out of it, so we're giving them gifts. They just fizzled a little bit, that's all. Okay, don't hate us. I know I should have saved that, but I can't help it. Okay, we keep missing land drops. This is usually when we lose, but I mean, we already won 4 in a row. And I did say I didn't care about winning, right? There are other cards like the Living Conundrum where instead of trying to win the game, I just try and figure out how to activate Living Conundrum. I love playing the alternate win cards that they design. I'm always just searching for something extra to do other than just win. Okay, that's enough. They've got more land than I do. They've got more life than I do. They've got more cards than I do with this, and they got more creatures. So we should get the... What's one more than a trifecta? A quadrifecta? Quadfecta? I don't know. What's one better than a trifecta if you get 4 of them? Somebody let me know in the comments. I think we just keep things the way they are. I could play the ossification now. I don't want to. I just want to use this as soon as I kill my Beza. I'm just taking it for granted. It's a lovely elemental elk. Yeah, what did they discard? They discarded Atraxa, which probably means they have a way of getting Atraxa back, especially with Collector's Vault. So it's a little bit of a... It's a Landfall and Reanimator deck? How many cards do you have in here? Interesting the way they split the baby like that, so to speak. Alright, we're going to give them another tapped fish. Target me, go ahead and tap that thing. And we scry. That's a good card. I'll take it. I'm not going to attack with my fish. My fish are my pets. I want to keep them. Okay, Valgavoth's faithful, so he brings back Atraxa. Predictable. And we got 5. Wow, that's 6 lands? 7 lands? He gets a Valgavoth, Innkeeper's Talent, and a Zombify. So because he has Zombify, we can't use Expel the Interlopers. He's going to pump up his fish. I'll pump you up. Okay, that's fine. Not even going to block that because that gets us down below his health. We will go ahead and get rid of Atraxa now. And autopay. They want to get out Valgavoth. They probably can just discard it and then do Zombify. So that's what we're expecting. They should be able to do that in one turn. Oh, never mind. I'm just going to do that instead. So yeah, they didn't go all in on the resurrection stuff. They included a little bit more landfall stuff in there. But they've drawn into all of their primary stuff with the combo. Just keep recycling the creatures. Notice this is probably like the only copy of Over the Edge they have in the entire deck, because we haven't seen another one yet. They've gone through more than half their deck. And we are running out of spells. So with these two that we know they have in hand, there's just so many things that I think it's okay to block some of this stuff now. Alright. I think we clear the board. So this is what Arena does after you win 4 times in a row. Mythic Rare. Mythic Rare. Mythic Rare. Mythic Rare. Another Overlord. Oh, got a couple of Maze Mind Tomes in there. Yet another Atraxa. This is a little bit different deck, right? I mean, I don't usually see the landfall in there. Okay, so they've just used the one Valgavoth this whole time. Alright, let's see, we need to draw into some other stuff. That is what we needed to draw into. Unfortunately, we can't use it this turn, because we didn't have the right mana. I suppose I should have paid more attention to my mana. They're really slow rolling things, aren't they? The problem is they have this Snakeskin Veil, so I can't really use this right away no matter what. And I don't have another board wipe. So I would need them to use all of their green, which is what, like 7 mana? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get the chance. Add 1 mana of any color. Of course, they know I'm tapped out, but I mean, this has to only happen during attacks. It really is hopeless at this point. These all have ward as well. This has double ward, if they put a counter on it. Oh, they took so long to set all this up. You would think this is not an original deck. This is very much all around the environment. This person did not come up with this deck. You would think they would learn to pilot it by now. I think they're trying to maximize everything, It's just taking them a really long time. Like, you're so far ahead. Oh, they do have more than one of those. Okay. Okay. If I do this... We'll give them a tap fish. We'll tap this thing. Oh, sorry. We have to target me. Yes, we'll do that. And we'll... Oh, shoot. I really need an untapped land out of the 3 things. Now, they can prevent this, which is what I want. But I still get to draw 3. And both of those are tap lands. And they have lethal. I've got 1. Okay, I'm gonna say it's a good game, but that was not the best game in the world. It went on long enough. They got everything they needed. Oh, but they really slowed down. We'll do 1 more. We did manage to give them quite a few fish. They put their fish on steroids and killed my fish. Hello? We don't want to wait for that stuff. Alright, you know what? I'm going to call it. That was 5 games. That's 4 wins and 1 losses. That should be a good enough deck for you. What do you all think of the fish deck? Did you expect it? I had no guesses. Nobody guessed it ahead of time. It works kind of nice against most things. We didn't get to see the Starforged Sword this time, but sometimes that's come in and helped me out quite a bit. And the Blister Zoa got a little bit of action, and that was kind of cool. It's possible that I have 1 too many Piranha Flies. They enter tapped. Sometimes just having a bunch of flyers is really helpful. Sometimes they're just chump blockers. Sometimes they are just things for me to discard so I can draw deeper into my deck. Sometimes they are sacrificial fodder. But sometimes they just they do a good job. Every now and then my opponent doesn't have anything in the air, and I'm just fine 2, 4, 6 points at a time, and that wins the game just with the Piranha Flies. So they do have their day in this deck. The Bubble Smuggler every now and then has a really dramatic turn when I get to get the disguise off of it. And I do like the flexibility with Parting Gust. I would probably include... I'd probably build a deck differently if I was going to include 4 copies of Parting Gust. I would have a lot more cards, a lot of creature cards that would benefit more from their enter into the battlefield effect. But that's what I would change. That would be a different deck by the time I did it. I do like the artwork on Bays of the Bounding Spring, though. That's kind of a fun card. And I definitely... this kind of card speaks to me because I tend to want to not do the quick aggro decks. I tend to do mid-range and long-range decks. And that means I'm almost always low on life. So these things that allow you to... They're sort of like catch-up cards that allow you to come from behind. These are really useful to me. So I might be using Beza more in future decks because I've kind of stayed away from it until now. And I really like the card. Good design. Good. So with that, as always, we thank our Patreon, Sujic. We ask you to like and subscribe. And we've got one more day, the 12 Days of Bloomburrow. We've done the 10 major animals. We've done the fish. You have no clue what's coming at you next. If you catch a single episode, catch next video. You're not going to believe what I'm doing. I said it here first. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.